Hola a todos. Mi nombre es Francheska Alcantara. I am a visual artist based between Lenapeland, the Bronx, and Osage, Cherokee, and Muscogee Creek land, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I would like to share with you one of my works, which I have set up right here in my studio. And this is a piece titled The Seed in Your Eye, and it is composed of different elements. Um, there is a brown paper bag um, with tape and yarn and leaves right inside it. There is a milk crate that sort of like frames the piece with this particular also sort of like you know, milk crate pattern, painted pattern, and there is a glass container with a avocado pit in it. And I sort of like created this piece as I think a response to one of the many processes that I have within my practice, but that are very central to my process, which is collecting things that I find on the street. So that has been happening for a while, where I collect brown paper bags and then bring them into the studio and treat them into baths that last for months and at the time. And where there's sort of like a creation of sort of like surface onto the bag. And for the piece, then I also sort of just collected some milk crates that I found, or sort of, this particular one I found in the Bronx. And, I think the other elements are sort of a, maybe again, like a connection to the different processes that I have. I started off as a painter and moved on to, sculpture, assemblage, performance, etc. And there's, sort of like something very specific about responding to the material qualities of a particular place, and I think for me that is reflected in the things that we find on the street. There's something very poetic about finding story, a texture of a particular place as you're sort of like looking at the items that have been discarded. At the same time, there's a lot of history, right, that is connected to these items that I have included here. For instance, the brown paper bag. Of course, there's a very violent history to the brown paper bag test. That I'm very much aware of. Through sort of like the colorism, but at the same time there is sort of like a reclaiming of such item through, for instance, the free food program that the Black Panthers established. So for me, I'm sort of like interested in those different qualities, and maybe opposing histories of the particular items that I use. So at the same time, I consider this to be some sort of like a portrait. There is a maybe a semblance to, I don't know, maybe a face, a body that is constantly moving around and navigating, I guess, different spaces. Um, for me, I think that's interesting because that brings me to that question of what does the X in Latinx art mean to me, and I think I'm definitely very interested in the sort of like neutral gender of it, but at the same time there is this idea of crossing paths, of crossroads, of different intersections happening constantly, which are something that I think are encapsulated within the identity and the idea of Latinx art. Thank you.